For the first part of this video, I want to apologize for the camera quality. I wasn't able to record this off my computer for some reason, and I couldn't find a YouTube clip that I thought was good enough. So the final lair scene in the Phantom of the Opera has always been one of my favorite scenes, not just because of how well it wraps up the story, but because I think it's the scene that does the best job of showing the duality that goes on inside the Phantom, and inviting between his good and evil side. So while watching the scene, I noticed that Joel Schumacher likes to make a habit of messing around with the lights on the characters' faces. I think this is done to express the tone of the scene, but it also does a good job of expressing what exactly is going on in the characters' minds. The scene also shows the duality of the Phantom well by not having him wear a mask. Now we can fully see his face and there's no smoke and mirrors behind his expressions. Now this scene obviously does have a very dark tone, and I think that's expressed well by the amount of light shown on the cave set. While on the subject of lighting, the scene also uses that to show how the Phantom is feeling and what side of him is in control multiple times. For example, at the beginning of this scene, we see him looking down at his wedding ring. The camera pans up to show his face. His ugly side is in the dark, while his good side is very well lit. Obviously, he's having good thoughts about marrying Christine. Although as Christine distracts him, his ugly side then comes into the light. He's brought back to reality. Camera angles also help show what side of him is in control. Like at the beginning of the scene, we mostly see the Phantom's ugly side instead of his good side. Christine tries to reach the Phantom here, and then as we can see, the Phantom hangs his head down in remorse with some light coming onto his good side. Although once Raoul shows up, the Phantom goes back to anger and we mostly see his ugly side, and then when he turns his head, his good side has some darkness to it. With that line, I like to think that Eric is mocking Ralph for his wealth, saying how it can't help him now, and that now he must see eye to eye with him. Once again, how the Phantom is feeling is reflected across the light and the camera angles on his face. This is also the part when Eric's ugly side is the most well lit and when his good side is almost non-existent. In this reprise of Past the Point of No Return, I like to interpret the situation as a triangle of emotions, where three sides would be different but also connected. One feels fear, sadness, and remorse, another feels anger and revenge, and the last one feels hope and grief, as Christine is the one who connects all the sides. Not to mention, those emotions are the driving force of the story. So you know Tuco's line in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? You know the one where he says,
"There are two kinds of people in the world, my friend. Those with a rope around their neck and the people who have the job of doing the cutting."
Well, I think that ideology sort of sums up the scenario that they're in. Both Raoul and Christine have a noose around their neck that's sealing their fate, and both Christine and the Phantom are the ones doing the cutting, and everything is based off one decision. Christine tries once again to reach Eric by singing her song, Angel of Music, but the others say to make a choice. There are the tone shifts that kind of like a cowboy standoff, where one has to make the choice to start and who to kill. Once Christine makes her choice, we can see the light on both sides of the Phantom's face. And as Christine kisses him, we can see the Phantom's heart softens as he goes from anger to happiness, then to sadness. Also, something else I like is when she rests her hand on his deformed side, showing that she fully accepts him. And as we see the Phantom's emotions change, the timpani, the snare drum, and the choir in the background all build up excellently to his final decision.
Take him! Forget me. Forget all of this. Leave me alone. Forget all you've seen.
Eric gives his last request to live in the shadows, almost as if he sees himself as nothing.
The secret you know of the angel in hell.
Eric reveals that he now will be living in sadness and loss for the rest of his life. As Eric sings Masquerade in a cheerful tone, I think that's his way of connecting with normal people above the opera house.
Hide your face, the world will never find you.
My interpretation of Eric singing that last line is that he's telling his ugly side to hide away forever where no one will find it. My interpretation of Christine looking back as she's singing is that she's saying goodbye one last time and that I will always love you. I think Eric means to say with his line that without you, my music is over, and that I will always love you too.
You alone can make my song take flight. It's over now, the music of the night.
Upon closer inspection of Eric destroying his mirrors, he had intentionally placed his ugly side facing the mirrors, almost as if it's his way of destroying it within. And then Eric escapes his crib by disappearing, showing that he still is the Phantom,